Five, four, three, two, one. Yo, 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 what is up? We are back. We're separate, but we are together. Back, y'all.
Back
And
in
we are
that ass.
hey, what is up? We're all separate. Look, it looks pretty good over here.
Yeah.
So we are doing today, we're going over the masterpiece that got Anime of the Year award. Don't know which category, but I think it was Anime of the Year. We're going over Jujutsu Kaisen, the hot anime that hit the fray. Was it last year or this year?
I think it's last year because I've been hearing about it for about a year now.
Yes, it was last year. Yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen is amazing. So we're diving into either the manga or the anime portion of it. Either
Mhm.
one is going to be good regardless. I watched the first season and it was lovely. So we're gonna go back over and give our take on jujitsu, just like we've been doing for Kangen Omega and Kangen Ashura. And we'll be going over like 20 chapters each episode. So if you guys want to actually follow us and actually read it, guys, it's in the manga, because I know everybody's not an avid manga reader. Join us, please, and check out this amazing show with us.
And
So,
honestly, I think that the anime adaptation was really solid.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it was from what I've experienced. It was one of the better done like adaptations from manga to anime that I've seen in a while.
Yeah, it was. People talked about it so much, and that people was like overhyping it. And I'm like, nah, that was. It took me a minute to get into myself. I just kept falling
Hmm.
asleep on episodes. I get home and fall asleep, and it'd be episode 2. I wake up, it'd be like episode 10. So I had to sit
Yeah.
down and finish watching it finally, and it was definitely worth. It was definitely worth sitting there watching it. Definitely.
Hmm.
What you think about? What you been thinking about it so far, Ev, from the first season?
The anime was really nice, but they do this thing that I really don't like, and it's a Studio Mappa thing where they add a bunch of blur to action stuff, and it's kind of obnoxious. They also
Oh,
animated Attack on Titan, and it has a lot of that too, which is really, really annoying.
So what do
But
I
you?
other than that, it's really good. As the series as a whole, I really enjoy it, especially where it's going right now in the manga. It reminds me a lot of Bleach in the sense of how Bleach kind of started off as a horror series and then just kind of evolved into its own thing. But
yeah.
this is like supernatural horror, which is really cool.
Yeah, I would agree with that. One thing now, granted, I'm not very far in this series either, but I see parallels between uh, Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer. Like
Yeah,
I see similarities between the two series.
I see Naruto with the teams. So far, they had like the Sasuke Naruto Sakura package, kind of
Okay.
sort of with them with the three man, and then we got Kakashi, Gojo's Kakashi. I'm just gonna say it because we people said it's reverse Kakashi.
Yeah. Now my knowledge of Naruto is basically non-existent, so
Oh yeah, I forgot
that
you had
one
yeah.
that
If you
one
saw
goes
Kakashi, you'll and watched him, you'd be like, oh
yeah, it
yeah.
goes right over my head.
No, no, watch it like an episode of Naruto and with Kakashi in it, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So let's
Um,
see. Oh, real quick, like, share, subscribe, comment, and to the Justin Anime group page on Facebook, Justin Anime Podcast. Type it in just like that. I will actually, Dana, put it in a chat right here in the little chat box thing so people can actually see it. Um, but yeah, and then the Justin Anime YouTube page as well. Check out the YouTube page. We got the King and Ashura stuff that we've been doing. So check out that. And we'll be doing other stuff on there too as well. I'm gonna be actually doing box openings eventually for anime figures because I've been seeing a lot of these cool anime figures, and I'll definitely do some box openings. Y'all can watch me
okay.
open the box and all that good stuff. Talk about the anime for it and all that good stuff. So yeah, just support me and all that good stuff. Support us and keep tuning in. And well, let's get this started. So, who wants to start? Who wants to start this off? Tim, since you're the newcomer for Jiu-Jitsu, would you like to start it off?
Yeah, okay. So, really, the anime specifically, because that's what I watched, um, it starts, episode one, if I'm not mistaken, starts in what's called in media res. So, like in the middle of the story. Um, and we are immediately introduced to our main character, Yuji Itadori.
Yep.
And but we're also introduced to another character, Gojo, whose first name I cannot remember. Um, and he's Gojo is essentially telling a bound, like shackled Itadori that he's basically been sentenced to execution. Now we don't know why yet, and so it kind of cuts back in time. Um, Now, me personally, I really enjoy when um, pretty much any form of media, movies, comics, whatever, when they do the media res thing because it hooks you right away because you're like thinking like, how the hell did we get here? How are we here?
Yeah,
And
already. Yeah.
so I thought that was kind of a cool way to open that up. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So we back up after Gojo lays it on him that he's scheduled for execution. We actually back up. Um, I don't know exactly the time frame, but it doesn't seem like it's very long. Um, to kind of show who Yuji Itadori is, and he's basically your average Japanese high school student who participates in this occult research club, kind of like a paranormal uh, research club or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's really who he is. Um, and it is around this same time while they're kind of going through Itadori's day to day life and his activities with this occult club that we are shown a character who we don't actually know his name yet, but he comes to be like a secondary protagonist for our story here. And
Fushiguro.
Fushiguro, yeah, and he's looking for something. We don't know what it is yet. And so, in the middle of all this, you have a scene of Itadori with his occult club or whatever, and he finds out that for whatever reason, his membership has been changed from from the occult club to I believe it's like the track team or something like that.
Man, they ducked this man in the track squad.
Yeah, and that's where you meet his coach, and it's here that we kind of get the feeling that Itadori is not really as normal as we thought he was because his like barely trying is breaking like world records for certain.
Man,
Uh,
he threw that shot put. And
mhm.
he threw it.
He's clearly not exactly normal. We just don't know exactly the extent of that yet. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'll leave it off there and let Everett kind of take us through what's going to happen next because this is one of those few animes where stuff they don't they don't really throw a lot of what's the word they don't really throw a lot of information at you that you don't need. They just jump right in. So,
Yeah.
Everett, would you mind taking us from uh, that point forward?
So after that, Yuji goes to visit his grandfather in the hospital, who seems to be pretty sick, and they're
Mhm.
just having this familial back and forth. And then his grandfather is like looking over at the window, and he basically says along the lines of, "You're a good kid, so you should help people. And when you die, you should die surrounded by other people.
Hmm.
And then his grandfather dies.
Yo, it was so. It was
It was
just like that. I was like, damn. He just turned over.
it was really it was very immediate.
Yeah,
I was not expecting him to die in that same
like
sequence that he was introduced.
I was like, damn. How sick was he? Like he just turned over and was like, and it's like I'm so far. What I'm getting from this, it's like like we got the main shonen, we got like this is a different type of shonen where the main character doesn't seem like he's going for a big goal or he has this long like my hero. We know he's gonna become the greatest hero of all. We know Luffy wants to become the Pirate King. Naruto wants to become the Ninja Mayor for the
Yeah,
Mayor Village. And his grandpa
Yuji
basically,
does not.
hey, do great things.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yuji doesn't seem to have any lofty goal. He's like I said, he is your average kid, your average high schooler.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely average.
But yeah, I'm sorry, Everett. Go ahead, man.
And so he cremates his grandfather, but there's a little bit of detail that we left out. In Yuji's occult club, the other two members have a cursed artifact.
Yes.
And when Yuji walks out of the hospital, the other main character, Megumi, comes up to him and is like, what are you doing? And like basically having a conversation with him. He was like, "Oh, you're that dude that I saw," because Megumi is also at the school um researching because there's a lot of negative energy coming from the
Hmm.
school,
Yeah.
and he sees a grade 2 curse on that track field, basically. And while Yuji is doing all these contests against the coach, so he'll leave him alone. And Megumi comes to him. He's like, "Oh, I'm a student at Jujutsu High. I'm investigating something. We believe there might be a part of Ryomen Sukuna uh, at the school." And he's like, "Oh, the people from my cult were thinking about
Opening.
unraveling the seal around it." And
Yeah.
as they're having that conversation, it cuts to his two friends in the club, and they undo the wrapping, and they see that it's a finger inside
Hmm.
of it. And
Yeah.
then immediately above them, you start seeing curses come out of a portal on top of them.
Yeah. And what's really interesting to me about some of the curses that we see that you see so far in the anime, especially, is they look like they're taken from various um, places that you recognize. So, like the curse that attacks Iguchi and Sakami or whatever, his two colleagues from the occult club, is very H.P. Lovecraft. It's very like Lovecraftian, and it's your standard like multiple eyed tentacle monster. Uh, but
Yeah, these cursed spirits are really creepy looking.
but later on, you see some that are almost reminiscent of like the Cenobites from Hellraiser, from the horror movie Hellraiser. So I think that's kind of interesting how they look like they're designed after multiple like cultural things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so yeah, his two colleagues pretty much immediately get attacked as soon as they unwrap uh, Finger, and I think it's right around like simultaneously. Fushiguro is telling Yuji that he's like, we have to get to that object because your friends are gonna die if they're not already dead. And so, oh, stop it! Sorry, dog. So of course they haul ass trying to get there, and I think when they finally arrive at the school, um, Fushiguro can see the like the cursed energy emanating out of the building already, and they get up to the floor that they're on or whatever, and uh, the male colleague whose name I think it's Iguchi or Ichiguchi or something like that. Um, he's unconscious, and the girl is basically wrapped up by the curse, and I do believe she's also unconscious, presumed dead at that point. And I think this is where we first get to see some of Fushiguro's powers with the demon dogs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those are
his
dope.
divine dogs. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so we see that. And then, uh, let's see. I do believe he starts to engage with the cursed object, or with the curse. Fushiguro does. And then, from literally out of nowhere, Yuji just kind of like smashes through the window and just like flying
Yeah.
Superman, like
So like
Superman punches him.
what happens is like the curse kind of puts Fushiguro in a hostage situation where
Yes.
it's actively trying to devour the girl and the finger,
Hmm.
and then you see Yuji burst through the window
Hmm.
and like just drop kick the curse, and Fushiguro's like, we're on the fourth floor.
Yeah. Hmm.
How'd you get up here?
Yeah. That's exactly it. And I'm trying to think from there. Uh, Yuji basically takes his colleagues and he kind of like runs. Him and Fushiguro get separated.
I believe.
And
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and Fushiguro starts fighting the curse, and he eventually does start taking a lot of damage,
yeah,
and then
mhm,
Yuji does show back up,
yes,
and he tries to fight the curse, but his attacks aren't doing any damage to it, and he starts getting hurt too. And Fushiguro goes, to beat a curse, you need curse energy. And he was like, oh, okay. And he eats the finger.
yes, yes. He actually is. Yeah, he's picked up by one of the little tentacles that the curse has, and basically he is. Yeah, he's basically forced to eat the finger. At which point,
Kuna's finger. It just, ooh, man. And pretty much after that, that's when we get the he gets pretty much he gets the powers
yeah,
that
He gets possessed.
yeah,
yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sakuna takes over his body for a short amount of time. But what's
we wrecks
interesting,
the demon.
yeah, Rex the demon and actually is preparing to go on a killing spree. Um, but what is interesting here is that Yuji is actually able to successfully suppress him without much effort, which is interesting. Because
Yeah, just for that
because
hot second.
yeah, because
Because
what's interesting,
Gojo didn't
Uh,
Gojo pop up?
yes,
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
So what happens is he does successfully suppress Sukuna, but
mhm.
Fushiguro doesn't know if it's just Sukuna like doing a thing where he's making it seem like he's Yuji
Oh,
and
like
will
trying
like
to,
try to attack him. And so
mhm.
he's just like, what do I do? What do I do? And then Gojo shows up.
Yeah,
Oh, the sensei, reverse Kakashi,
and
shows up.
Gojo does not seem to take anything seriously because he shows up with shopping bags full of souvenirs uh, for Fushiguro and other people, and he's
Yeah.
and
And he's
actually
like, wow, you took a lot of damage. And he starts taking pictures of him
mhm,
to
yeah,
like
and
post later.
if I'm not mistaken, like Sukuna actually with Yuji's body proceeds to attack Gojo, but the entire time Gojo is talking about these snacks that he had just picked up and how excited he
Yeah.
is to eat these. I think they're like sweet rolls or something.
But he was
And
avoiding.
like he avoids all of Sukuna's attacks, and he's like, I gotta look cool in front of my student.
Yeah, yeah. Because at one point, I think when he actually says that out loud, Sukuna goes for like a huge attack, and then it flashes, and Gojo is just sitting on his back, like just perched on top of his back.
Well, Gojo was clowning
Yeah,
Yeah,
this whole
yeah.
time.
I mean, we'll get to some more of him clowning
yeah.
later.
Ah,
And then Yuji takes back over again, and at this point Gojo is really interested in Yuji, and then he's like, can you do me a favor and call Sukuna back out, but I want you to take back control from him in 10 seconds. And he's like, Yuji's like, are you sure? I mean, I might kill you if I do that. And he's like, you don't have to worry about that because I'm the world's strongest sorcerer.
Yeah,
Gojo's a
and
goon.
yeah, and he does. He manhandles Sukuna,
Yo,
and
with no effort.
yeah, and then eventually, yes, Yuji resumes control of his body, and at this point, Gojo just knocks him unconscious.
Jenny.
Yeah. And then
And
that's when we get to the present where Yuji's trapped in that seal room,
mhm,
and Gojo's telling him about how his secret execution has been set, and he has two options. He can either die now, or he can get all 20 of Sukuna's fingers and then die after that. And Yuji's like,
yes,
I'll get the fingers and eat them, but I already know how I'm going to die, so I'm not gonna let myself be executed.
Damn, that was messed up. Like the options just weren't. The options just weren't too good. Like
Yeah, the options were die now or later.
it's like, well,
yeah,
fuck it. Might as well die later, then, but not right now. No time soon. So let me get these fingers for y'all.
and
But
no, and that's what's interesting about that too is that we find out that Ryomen Sukuna actually has 20 fingers because he's got 4 arms. And so, unlike normal people, I mean, technically Yuji's life is going to be a little bit longer than what it would be for a person with 2 hands. And
yeah,
yeah, and he's like, God knows how long this could take. But actually, at this point, shortly after, like, he goes to get his grandfather's ashes.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
his classmates are in the hospital. The
Mhm.
dude is unconscious, and the girl is like, Yuji, you might not believe me, but last night when we were at the school, there were curses and they attacked us." And he was like, "I believe you completely."
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah.
And he's like, starting from now on, I'm gonna be attending Jujutsu High, because the least I can do for the people around me, they're going to die. I can at least make sure they have decent deaths.
Mhm. Well, and
And that also is a part of him wanting to help people.
mhm. And
Pretty much. I'll go ahead.
I don't, I don't know if we mentioned this. I might have missed it. The reason that they gave Yuji the option of whether or not to accept his execution now or later was because the idea is that if he consumes all of Sukuna's fingers, they can just kill Sukuna once and for all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And try to
So.
keep and try to maybe try to prevent Yuji from actually getting killed. That I
Mhm.
mean, because he's ain't Sakuna's the strongest grade. He's a grade 2 spirit, right? The strongest grade 2 spirit that pretty much. F.
No, he's just like the strongest curse,
Oh yeah,
basically.
yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the strongest curse. Yeah, that's what it was.
Um, and then grabs his doesn't he eat another of Sukuna's fingers that they just
So
have?
that's after the conversation he has with his classmate in the hospital. And
Okay, you're
they're
right.
outside on the bench talking, Yuji and Gojo, and Gojo gives him another finger, and he's like, "We have," I think he says, "We have 6 of Sukuna's fingers at
Yeah,
Jujutsu High," and he eats it, and he briefly gets Sukuna's markings on him, and then they immediately go away, and he's like, "Yeah, those fingers are actually really disgusting." And
yeah,
and
yeah,
Gojo's like, "So that means it wasn't a fluke, and that he can be the vessel for Sukuna, and that there probably won't be another person like him in 1,000 years."
So
yes, yes,
they lucked up and got Yuji, and he can actually handle Sukuna pretty well. It
yeah.
seemed like, and handle the
And
fingers as
so,
well.
yeah, so that's when Gojo takes Yuji to the actual school for the first time, and that's where we meet the I guess the principal for all intents and purposes, which his name is Masamichi Yaga.
I
Does
forgot
that
the
sound right?
principal's name. I just know he looked like
It's
Harada from.
Yaga.
He looks like Harada from for Tekken. The guy who
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
he looks like Harada.
yeah, Yaga. And essentially, this guy just puts Yuji through the ringer for several minutes, um, basically attacking him with these little like cursed dolls that he uses, and grilling him about why he wants to be a sorcerer, why he wants Jujutsu High, and basically claiming like every reason that Yuji gives is not a good enough reason, and kind of just breaks him down, which is really kind of interesting to watch as Yuji kind of comes to the realization that what it really is that he just doesn't want to he
He
doesn't want to
doesn't want
live.
to. He doesn't want to regret the way that he lives.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. I just took a long time getting there. Um, but
kind of
this
what I
is
follow what his grandfather said. Kind of like
yes,
he was, yeah.
and so after the realization that he doesn't want to regret not stopping Sukuna is when Naga relents and he's like, okay, now that's a good enough reason and admits it. It's after this we are introduced to the second, I believe, third year
Third.
or no, first year student.
Yeah, the
Um,
third first year student.
yeah, that's what I meant. I got dyslexic there.
Nobara Kugisaki.
Yes, Nobara. Now, Nobara is interesting
Yeah.
to me. Nobara, I find Nobara interesting because she is not, she's very not typical of what you see, in my opinion, of women or girls in anime. She's extremely headstrong. She's extremely confident in herself and doesn't like think twice about her ability. Um, and I feel like a lot of times in anime, especially in shonen, um, women can often be portrayed as relatively helpless, and I feel like Nobara kind of bucks that trend in a way. So that's why I find her interesting. She's she's a very strong character. Um, she's got a lot of layer, like a lot of depth, and you can tell right away with her. It's not really like hidden. It's right there on the surface. Um, but pretty much right after meeting her, Gojo, along with Yuji, Fushiguro, and Nobara, goes to a abandoned house, or it's actually a warehouse or a tenement building or something that's right across the street from a cemetery, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? Oh, everybody there?
Uh, I'm
Oh,
here.
I think we lost JJ, but we'll just
Uh,
keep going until he gets back. um, I think we're having some
so
problems.
to briefly get us back on track, when
Yes,
Kugisaki shows up to Tokyo, she's really excited because Gojo promised her and Yuji that he'd take them on a tour of
yes,
Tokyo, and he brings them to like this area near the cemetery where a curse is instead.
yeah, because if I remember right, they're talking about all the different like districts of Tokyo they wanted to go to, and he's like, "We're going to Roppongi," and they're like, "Oh, we're going to Roppongi? That's awesome!" And then cut, and suddenly they're in front of this like building across from a cemetery, and they're both just like, "This is where we were going, really?" And
Yeah.
so,
And Gojo's mainly doing this to test Kugisaki.
mhm,
And when he sends Yuji in to help as well, he gives Yuji a cursed artifact. Uh, you call it the Slaughter Demon, and
mhm.
it's a knife. And he's like, when you go in there, don't rely on Sukuna's power at all.
Yes, yes, he was specifically told that. Yeah. Um, if I'm not mistaken, like basically he kind of just sent Yuji in there for moral support because they wanted to
Yeah.
see um, what Nobara was made of, which is interesting. Um, now I can't quite recall because they split up. Um, they split up, and she takes the top floor, correct?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, because that's where she runs into the mannequins,
Yeah.
and I, I think Yuji runs into a curse almost pretty much
Uh,
immediately.
Kugisaki runs into a little kid,
Yes. Hmm.
and the little kid's like in the corner, and then
Okay, I'm
uh,
back.
Ah, there we go.
Sorry about that, man. I don't know
Right, no,
what
yeah, you're
happened.
cool.
it's all good. Me and Everett just kept going.
Right on. Jesus
Yeah.
Lord.
But um,
And then she sees that the boy is being held hostage by a curse.
yes,
And the curse is basically like, let me go or I'm killing this kid.
yeah,
Yo, that curse was actually smart because it took him hostage.
which is what she was. Yeah, she was thinking that the whole time. Is like they're not capable of this level of thought.
Like
Yeah.
the curse was
There
smart.
there are two things that I wanted to talk about that we kind of glossed over a little bit. Is before they go into that building, uh, Gojo actually gives Yuji a weapon
Yeah,
that is
I
that
talked
has.
about it. The knife, it's called Slaughter Demon.
Oh, that's right. Sorry,
Yeah.
I forgot the name of it. But the second is when she first gets upstairs and notices that one of those mannequins is a curse in and of itself. We actually do get to see a little bit of her curse technique, which strangely enough involves a hammer and nails.
Like a voodoo doll.
That's one of them. Yeah, that comes in just a second. Um,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, but she has like a handful of like literally like hardware nails, and she's got a ball peen hammer, which I was not something I was expecting at all. But we see how she uses that. But as to go back, she's trying to work out how she's going to get this kid safe and clear from the demon, and she's weighing the option of like, should I let the kid die and save myself, or what do I do? So she's kind of faced with this immediate moral dilemma that I didn't really expect her to be, because
Yeah.
she literally was considering like trading, like allowing this kid to get killed
Yeah.
to save himself,
And
which is
so what she ends up doing is she just like sits her weapon on the ground and then puts her hands in the air and then she starts talking about how she could see a woman named Sayori one more time.
Yes.
And then as that's happening, Yuji bursts through behind him and cuts the arm off of the curse.
Yeah.
That's holding the boy.
Yuji comes
Mhm.
in these dope scenes where he just flies through like he's Superman.
Well, it was mildly comedic because at first his hand comes through the wall, and you can hear him on the other side of the wall going, "Oh crap, did I miss?" And then that's
Oh
when he
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. I
and
forgot
then he
about
just
that.
blows through the rest of the wall. Um, and of course, they dispatch the demon pretty much immediately because it tries to escape out the window, and that's when Nobara uses basically a voodoo doll for all intents and purposes, and pierces the one of her nails down through the voodoo doll and the severed arm of the demon, and just evaporates it, and that's pretty much the end. And down on the street, Fushiguro and Gojo are both sitting there, and Gojo kind of looks up and he's like, "Yep, she's crazy." And so, of course, now we have our second uh, first year character. Because if I'm not mistaken, Fushiguro is not a first year, is he?
He is.
Oh,
He's
is
the
he? Okay.
third. Kugisaki is the third first year.
Okay, yeah,
So the
correct.
only three are Fushiguro, Yuji, and Kugisaki.
Yep.
So, this would be end of episode 3 in the anime. So, um, this brings us to 4 and 5. Now, episode 4 and 5 is insane in the anime, because the end of episode 3 is like a voice recorded log, and it says that at this date and time, three jujutsu sorcerers were sent to this juvenile detention center to investigate, and one of them died. And uh, that's when
Um,
that's when episode 4 starts, which is the cursed womb must die, parts 1 and 2. Now, this is a pretty interesting set of episodes specifically, because they go to this um, juvenile detention center, obviously, and Yuji, Fushiguro, and Nobara are sent there. And they are told specifically anything that is not like anything that's like a special grade, that they're not to engage.
run. Pretty much escape.
Keep going.
Yeah, they pretty much. Yeah, they pretty
Yeah.
much told him. He told him to run. Pretty much, if they run into a
Yeah.
grade they can't handle.
Because their main mission is to just find any survivors and help them escape,
Yeah,
and don't encounter any special grade curses. But one of the bystanders, she's a mother of one of the kids. She
Oh man,
begs
yeah,
that was sad.
Yuji to save her son if it's at all possible.
yeah.
Yeah, that was sad.
That was, yeah,
That was really messed up. Because don't they go when they first go in there? I think they get to pretty much the kid was just he was already dead, but his
oh
like
yeah,
I think she was looking for no. They saw the name tag because Yuji wanted to save him, but Fushiguro was just like, we gotta go,
yeah,
and he wasn't gonna try to leave him behind. Pretty much wanted to give the mom some solace, like your son's dead, but he brought the name tag back. He gets the
yes.
name tag off of him at least because I like
Um,
he felt bad. And
Yeah,
Fushiguro,
and it makes Yuji mad, and Yuji looks at Fushiguro. He's like, if you don't even want to bring the body back, why did you bother saving me then?
he kind of
yeah,
didn't say nothing either. He sounds like and just kind of blew it off and walked away. Like I felt Fushiguro felt bad, but they on a mission, and I guess he don't want to get personal feelings wrapped up into it.
Yeah. And then this takes a very, very bad turn
Really
because
quick.
while Megumi used his divine dogs to find the scent,
Hmm.
he realizes that one of his divine dogs has been killed. And
Yeah.
yeah, and they encounter this special grade demon and they're
Yo,
terrified of it. And so Yuji pulls out Slaughter Demon and he tries to attack the curse. And then you see that Yuji got his hand cut off by the curse.
Oh,
oh yeah, he
immediately.
got messed up quick.
Yeah.
This special grade wasn't no. This special grade was no joke.
One thing that was interesting, well, and then they actually lost Nubara almost immediately. She like sinks through the floor, and we don't
Oh
really
yeah,
know.
yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we don't really know where she goes from here. But yeah, he gets his hand taken off by the special grade, and at this point, I think that him and Fushiguro are preparing to engage it, and Yuji manages to convince Fushiguro to run
Run.
for it. Yeah, go find
Yeah.
Well, to
Nobara and
find
run for
Nobara and
it.
leave. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll try to buy you some time. And a I hesitate to call it a fight. Um, basically, a Yuji just starts getting his ass handed to him by the special grade demon, and
Oh, he was getting
Yeah.
work.
Yeah,
Sakuna.
and this is when we see another side of Yuji where he seems like this carefree person that wants to make sure that all the people around him die good deaths. He's actually himself terrified of dying, and
Mhm.
he's like, I can't stand how weak I am. This is so frustrating. And then he
Uh,
realizes something. With all that negative emotion that he's feeling, he can channel it into cursed energy and
yeah,
keep trying to fight the curse.
Yeah.
yeah, and he does attempt it again, um, but at this point he's missing a hand. He's got the tips of his other hand are just burned off from
Oh yeah.
trying to block more of the cursed energy. I mean, he's literally just being basically slowly murdered by this thing.
What's
And
Yeah. And when uh Megumi ends up finding Nobara and helps her after she's fighting all of these curses on her own, and Yuji is able to hear the last divine dog howl, and that was the signal for him to turn into Sukuna to give control over to him.
yes,
yeah.
and
Perfect
so
timing.
yeah, so Sukuna basically um, takes over Yuji's body and proceeds to effortlessly kill this special grade. I mean,
Yo, he messed the
Well,
demon.
what happened was that he initially tried to work with the special grade curse. The
you're
special grade curse
correct.
is
Yeah.
like terrified of him, and
Yes.
then he Sukuna turns around and he's like, "All right, let's go." And then he realizes that the curse is trying to attack him. He's like, "All right," and then he just flat out destroys it.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Well, one interesting thing there is when the thing tries to attack him with like a just a fireball of cursed energy, he lifts his hand up, but it's the hand that got cut off regenerates the hand immediately. And he
Yeah,
actually, I think he actually mentally takes note. He's like, "Damn, I really wasn't trying to heal his other hand."
yeah. He was like, I
Um,
was actually trying not to heal his injuries.
yeah, and we got to see a pretty cool thing. Even though we don't really get to see exactly what the attack is, we get to see Sakuna perform Malevolent Shrine,
Yeah,
which
The
seemed to,
expansion domain.
yeah, domain expansion, and it basically like quadruple sects this cursed in this cursed spirit, and as it's kind of sitting there looking like it's been like slashed in like 4 pieces, Sukuna goes, "I'll be taking this," and reaches
Yeah.
into its chest and takes another of Sukuna's fingers out.
Yeah. And so
And
doesn't he eat the finger? I'm
oh
pretty
yeah,
sure.
oh
Yeah,
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 he
I
and
think
then
Fushiguro told him don't
afterwards,
eat it.
Sukuna's like, he's like, "Hey, take back control of your body." He's like, "Hello, can you hear me?" And Yuji's not responding to him and not trying to take over. And then you
hmm
see Sukuna just smile and is like, "It's my show now," basically.
yeah. And at this point, he basically goes out to where because Fushiguro got Nobara and uh, well, that's it. Nobara and the guy who's like their liaison for this investigation, they get out of there. They haul ass out, and Fujigoro stays behind. And that's when he sees Yuji, who's now possessed fully by Sukuna, approach.
Yeah,
And this is where shit takes a hard left turn
Yeah.
because Sukuna pretty much immediately starts taunting Fushiguro and is trying to pick a fight with him. And of course, Fushiguro obliges, but he's no match for Sukuna. He's just not. And in the middle of all this, something.
Oh, I just remembered something. Yeah. And
What's
when
that?
he's taunting Fushiguro, he actually rips out Yuji's heart.
He
And
does. He rips it straight out.
I can live without this. Yuji can't.
Yes.
yeah. I thought he did that after the fight, and then that's when.
No.
Okay, I swear I almost thought he did it after. I didn't know he did it way early.
In the anime probably, but in the manga he does it when they're talking.
Yeah, he does. In the anime, he does too. He just is sitting there talking, and he's like, "Check this out," and he just immediately does it. Well, um, this catches Fushiguro off guard, and basically he just kind of gets slammed all over the place by Sukuna,
Yeah, he gets mopped.
and yeah, he does. He gets wrecked, and as he's preparing to make what seems to be like a final stand, because at this point he thinks he's about to be killed by Sukuna. Uh, all of his Shingamis, which are his like shadow animals, so like the demon dogs are dead. Um,
There's a
the
toad.
the toad, the
He had
owl thing,
yeah, he had like
like
an owl. Yep. Yeah, it was like
most
a
most
yeah.
of them are most of them are destroyed, so they're of no use to him. And he stands up and takes a stance, and then he starts glowing blue. Now I don't personally understand what this is yet, but it gives Sukuna like a pause, like he stops, and he seems amused by whatever it was that he saw. And
I think he complimented Fushiguro. I think he said you could be stronger or something like that. Like,
it was something that degree.
yeah,
And as they're kind of talking, um, Fushiguro, I don't recall exactly what he says, but whatever it is he's saying is appealing to uh, the like it's appealing to Yuji inside of Sukuna's body, just hoping that Yuji can hear him, I
yeah.
guess. And slowly but surely, Yuji takes his body back over, and it's at this point he kind of takes his body back over, realizes that his heart is gone, and the last thing he says is, "I hope you live a good long life," and drops dead. And suddenly, our main character is dead, like dead, dead.
Like dead. Not like we can revive him in a few. No, that did definitely take a turn for the worst. Like you don't see that too many shonen where the main character gets offed.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, Attack on Titan kind of sort of. Aaron damn near got killed, trash ass. But no,
but a bunch of other people did.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that caused like it he got killed early. You don't see the main protagonist get killed like that, like so early on. So that was like a different take on the shonen protagonist.
It's
So,
not the first that's done it too, because that was how Yu Yu Hakusho started too. It
oh yeah.
started with
Oh yeah,
Yusuke
Yusuke got hit
dying.
by the train. Yeah, never mind. True.
Well, I think the difference there is that the whole
Actually,
premise.
Yusuke dies twice in that series.
Yeah. Well, the
Oh
thing,
yeah,
the thing,
essentially.
He
the thing
dies
about Yu Yu
twice.
Hakusho,
I just
the thing about
realized.
the thing about
Yeah,
Yu Yu Hakusho is that the entire premise of that show is that he got killed in the beginning of it. Whereas with this, it's kind of unexpected.
and like Hyusuke didn't want to die. At
No.
least he had somewhat of
Well, no,
control.
he originally he was fine with dying. Yusuke was fine with dying because he's like, nobody really gave a shit about me, so it's probably best that I'm dead anyway. And then he
Hmm.
sees Keiko crying over him, and that's when he wants to go back.
And Kuwabara.
Yeah,
Kuwabara flipped
it
out,
was
and
the cool bar,
Moms.
yeah, but it was mainly Keiko.
Yeah, it was definitely mainly Keiko because Moms was crying, the principal cried,
Hmm.
and everybody was crying. This situation here, I mean, at least Hyusuke, he wasn't he was fine with dying. Fucking Yuji didn't have no choice. Sakura
Yeah,
was just like,
like
yeah,
when he was facing his own mortality, he was terrified. He was like, I don't want to die.
Yeah.
and gave control over to Sakuna. But I guess he wasn't. We weren't expecting Sakuna to be like, all right, I'm just gonna off
Yeah.
this kid any damn way and take his damn body. It was like, oh, wasn't expecting that to happen that
Yeah.
fast in
So
the episodes that it happened in. So that, like I
yeah,
said, that definitely happened in other shonen
that's
animes.
episode 5. 5 episodes in, and Yuji is dead.
I'm like, damn, it
So
happened. Woo,
yeah,
yeah, unexpected turn. I'm not gonna
yeah,
learn quick. Out of the spirits, like you always see the spirits. You got the Karama, you got the Ichigo, the Vaster Lourdes thing. You got Inuyasha's demon like the vessels that you take over to people. Somewhat,
yeah,
I mean, or Asta. And after a while, they listened. After a while, work with the vessel. Sukuna just straight off his vessel and didn't give a
yeah,
shit.
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so basically, episode 6 of the anime, and I'm pretty sure it's like this in the manga. The chapter really kind of deals with the fallout of Itadori's death. Um, Gojo's really upset, like he's frustrated by it. Nobara and Fushiguro both are clearly upset by it, even though they really barely know
Yeah.
Yuji.
Yeah,
And it's also, oh, well, actually, it's here that we're
Yeah.
introduced to 3 other characters: Zenin, Inumaki, who I love, and Panda, which is literally
Oh,
an
but
anthropomorphic panda.
before that though,
Oh, excuse me.
we actually get a conversation between a person and a curse,
in the
Yes,
which
restaurant.
is
yes,
with Geto and Jogo.
yes.
Yep.
They meet up at this restaurant and they're having a conversation about Sukuna's vessel dying,
Hmm.
and
And
uh
The
and
dude,
then Jogo's thing is he believed that curses are the real humans.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
if
the
I'm
fake
not,
shit all die.
yeah, and I
And
think,
and basically you want to there are two things that show you how ridiculous Gojo is.
uh-huh,
One, they were immediately discussing that they would not be able to beat Gojo in a fight.
yeah,
There's no way that they would be able to beat Gojo in a fight.
that
And
shows,
because of that, they were like, we just need to get him out of the way. We need to
and
seal him.
like Gojo's
yes,
a problem if they had
Yeah.
just him. But no, before that,
Yeah.
as they were
And
talking, and sorry, as they were talking in the restaurant, the people, these are normal people walking around. These fools are cursed spirits chilling in the damn restaurant. The
and
one
no one can
dude
see him.
gets scared and runs the fuck out because he says something ain't right. I quit.
Yeah.
And as they were just in there, just chilling, talking, and then the waiter comes up to their table, and immediately gets incinerated.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
basically, Jogo just sets everybody in the place on fire, but not before being told by Ghetto that the two things he needs to win are to, number one, get Gojo out of the way, and two, to get Sukuna and his vessel Yuji on their side.
Yeah.
And then he proceeds to burn the whole building.
Yeah, and Jogo is like, isn't Sukuna's vessel supposed to be dead? And Geto's like, I'm not so sure about that. And then
Yeah.
you see Yuji wake up in this alternate dimension, and Sukuna is looking down at Yuji, and he's basically calling him annoying. And
Yeah.
he's like, "Don't look at me without permission." And Yuji's like, "You need to come down here because I'm about to beat your ass."
yo,
Yeah.
But I was gonna say the second thing that you want to know why Gojo is so ridiculous.
Why?
Gojo was so strong, just so naturally strong, that curses had to naturally get stronger to be able to deal with the imbalance in the world that Gojo created by existing.
Yes, I do
Gojo's
recall.
that strong. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
The fact
So
he's just like the only problem that they have to worry about is Gojo.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so like as Yuji is having this conversation with Sukuna in this alternate dimension, essentially they strike a deal, and Sukuna basically tells him, like, okay, here's my two conditions. I'll revive you under two conditions. Number one, when I think it's the word expansion. Uh,
It's let me see. In chain.
that's what it was. Excuse me.
Yeah.
When I say that word, you are to give me your body for 1 minute. And
Yeah.
the second condition is that he forgets that he actually promised this.
Yeah,
And
he'll forget it. And
and
they're like,
Yuji,
all right, cool.
yeah,
No,
Yeah, Yuji. Yo, yeah, Yuji was like, you're gonna fix me without any conditions, and we'll fight to the death over it." And he was
yeah,
like, "Okay." And then Sukuna immediately cuts his head into pieces.
it was
yeah,
funny as hell
Yeah.
the way it happened because Yuji was like, you can tell when they're about to get cut off in the anime when somebody be said because the little line, the cross between the line. He said, if I
Hmm.
hit you, the head just fly. I was like, damn,
yeah.
that didn't
So
last long at all. Which we already
yeah,
probably shouldn't know what happened.
Yeah. And so the coroner, I think that's the right term, is
mhm,
about to die, like do an autopsy on Yuji, and Yuji just hopped back up.
yeah. Just sits right. He just sits straight up, and uh, Gojo, of course, is completely unfazed by it.
He's like, oh, she wanted to operate on him too. The chick,
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
he's
mortician chick,
really
really
looking
like,
forward to
oh,
that.
that's a shame. She would really wanted to operate
Uh,
on him though too.
and then that's pretty much the end of episode 6. Episode 7 is where we finally get to see some cool shit. Um, Gojo is he's being driven
Oh,
somewhere. I can't recall where he's going.
he's about to go see the old man. About to go see the principal.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
And then
yeah.
he tells, "Oh, is that because there's a lot more to it in the in the manga? It cuts to him training all the three of the first year's training in different ways.
Yeah, that's in
So
there.
Oh,
yeah,
dang.
Yeah.
Fushiguro is training with Maki to get physically stronger, and Nobara's training with Panda. And while all of this is happening, Yuji is training
With Gojo.
with Gojo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So and
And of course,
Gojo tells him when Yuji tells him about the situation with the curse, he tells him that he was able to use cursed energy, And then Gojo's like, I'm gonna teach you how to use cursed energy.
Yeah, and he tells him that I can't teach you curse techniques because it's a thing that's like personal only to you that you can do.
Yeah, it's an innate thing.
Yeah, I kind of skipped over that, but
Yeah.
that's basically what happened. And so keep in mind for the foreseeable future while we're talking, because I think we're running out of time here shortly. But um, for the at least the next two episodes, they have no I like Fushiguro and Nobara have no idea that Yuji is still alive or
Yeah.
is once.
Like they are moving forward under the premise that Yuji is dead.
Yeah,
Yeah, they got
and
to keep him a
so
secret from
so
being alive.
Gojo's on his way to see the principal, and then he just tells the driver, he's like, "Pull over here." Gets out of the car and sends the guy ahead on his way. At which point
Oh,
he's,
we left something out. I just
oh,
realized
what's that? I'm sorry.
when Gojo was explaining to Yuji about cursed energy, and he brought up the way that he was gonna train him. He's like, I'm gonna make you watch a bunch of scary movies and a bunch of different
Oh
genre
yeah,
movies,
Yeah,
and you're gonna
yo,
hold this cursed doll and constantly feed it cursed energy, and as soon as you stop, it will hit you.
yeah,
yo,
and
we're
it's
gonna have you
basically
cracking
Yeah.
the
it's a
hell up.
little, it's basically like a teddy bear with boxing gloves on, and it just slaps him every single time.
Oh no,
Um,
no. Remember? And then he said he made a Dragon Ball Z reference. He said he gonna teach me how to do like an energy blast or something. Or
Yeah, like a Kamehameha.
he was like,
yeah,
nah, I ain't gonna teach you.
yeah, he's like, I mean, you can do that, but yeah, So Gojo, after getting out of that car, pretty much immediately gets attacked by Jogo, who is the demon that was in the restaurant with Gato, and he's he kind of reminds me of that episode of SpongeBob where they dress up like superheroes and Squidward has the volcano hat,
Yeah.
because that's what Gojo,
Talking
that's what
about
Jogo,
too.
yeah,
Ah,
because that's what
I really
Jogo.
like Jogo's design specifically because his teeth are completely black, which I always
Yeah,
think is really cool.
yeah,
I mean
his
it
design
makes
was really
it makes
cool.
sense. I think he looks a little silly, but I can see that. Um,
Yeah,
so when I say Jogo attacks Gojo, what I mean is he launches an offensive motion, but he never actually manages to hit Gojo.
at
Yeah.
all.
And it is through this entire fight that we get to see what truly a badass Gojo actually is.
I told you when we see you
Yeah,
see Gojo fight. I
Yeah.
said, "What you
And
see Gojo fight?"
the interesting thing about Jogo right now is Gojo himself says that as Jogo is right now, he's stronger than Sukuna is at that current point.
yes, I do
And
recall him saying that.
and
Yeah,
that's saying a lot because Kakuna is because he's not fully regenerated. He doesn't. He's not as peak like he was before.
Yeah, he has about 3 fingers in him right now.
yeah,
And that's saying a lot. Because if Sakuna was at, but the fact is, Sakuna's only he's been beating ass, and he's only got 3 fingers. He's been wiping. He's been like when he fought the special grade. That says a lot. But
yeah.
compared to Gojo, oh
So during this fight, we kind of get to see how Gojo's powers and how his sorcery works, and Jogo is kind of wondering. He's like, "Why can't I hit you? I killed you." Because at one point he does manage to make contact with one of his attacks, and it appears to kill Gojo. But
yeah.
then we realize that Gojo is using a form of sorcery that basically limits any attack from actually physically touching.
Like slows down
Yeah,
time.
basically he calls it infinity,
Yeah,
where he in like between you and between him is a space called infinity, and he can manipulate that space between you.
Yeah. And
I like how he demonstrated it though. In the
yeah,
fight, he said, "Put your
yeah,
hand up," and the dude and Jugo plays along like, "What is he talking about?" And he really does it like it's supposed to be a serious fight. You're trying to kill Gojo, and he's playing along with him.
yeah.
And
He's like, it's funny because he's animated in like not the traditional anime style, but in like a traditional, like very cartoonish style at this point. And he's like moving his hand. He's like, come on, just touch it, And
Gojo was a fool for this in this
oh
fight.
yeah, he's a goon, dude. But at some point he launches because after all this starts, Gojo just lays into him and launches him into the middle of a lake.
Oh yeah, he rocks him. Yeah,
Yeah.
he is an onslaught of attacks. He
Yeah.
rocks Gojo.
And then in the middle of the fight, Gojo disappears, goes and gets Yuji off the couch watching movies, and brings him into the middle of the fight.
Yeah, he's like, this will be good training for you.
Yeah.
Just
He went to go
goes
get,
and grabs him.
but editorial's like, where am I at?
Yeah, he's like, what just happened?
And so we finally get to see something that they have mentioned at this point, but we haven't actually seen anyone do it. And that is Jogo performs what's called domain expansion.
Oh yeah.
Which is essentially, the way I understand it, a pocket of reality that is specific to every person who uses the cursed energy. And
like a territorial of your own to power you up pretty much. Your own. Yeah.
And I can't recall what Jogo's is called. I can't remember what it's called, but it's essentially.
It didn't matter though.
No, it didn't matter at all.
It didn't matter though.
What is? Oh, Coffin of the Iron Mountain. That's what it was called.
Coffin of the Iron Mountain. And he's launching he's launching attacks the entire time at Gojo, and Gojo's just shrugging them off like they're not even there. And he is explaining the entire time what domain expansion is to Yuji, and he basically tells him, he's like, but here's the thing about domain expansion is that when you use domain expansion, the more refined domain will always take precedent over the less refined one. And it's at this point that Gojo proceeds to use his own domain expansion. I believe just called in the Infinite Void.
Yeah.
And
that's some stuff you see when you get high on shrooms.
Like, well, what it seems like to me is very similar to some things that you saw in like the Doctor Strange movie when he's just like flying through various multiverses, or
that's what it pretty much look like
or more in the same vein is when Edward Elric looks through the door of truth.
I was thinking about that. They see they quote unquote get exposed to the truth.
Mm-hmm. So basically, it's like they're seeing everything and nothing all at once, and the mind can't comprehend it. And while that's happening, Jogo is basically frozen in place. And it's at this time we actually see Gojo remove his blindfold for the first time. And he has like...
We're going to have to stop it here in a sec. Once with this fight.
Those piercing blue eyes that he has.
Yo, that's one handsome man. No homo. Gojo is one handsome brother. You know, it's always the white-haired characters. They're always the handsomest when they take off. They got a mask on. He takes it off. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, we'll finish up this fight because it's almost done. But basically, while Gojo is immobilized, Gojo is taking all this time to explain domain expansion and to kind of impart wisdom onto Yuji about sorcery, and then proceeds to just pull off Jogo's head like it's nothing. Just
He
pulls
did
it
it so
straight off.
smooth.
Yeah, and when the domain implodes and they're back in the in normal reality, back in the middle of the lake, with the fight concluded, if I'm not mistaken, there's another cursed spirit that was in the restaurant who
Hanami.
Yeah, who basically comes, grabs Jogo's head, and like disappears.
Yeah, that was he got worked.
He
He
did.
couldn't. He wasn't no match for Go. I think he definitely underestimated Gojo. I
Yeah.
think he was gonna be that strong when he thought he
And
could take him by himself.
and when Hanami
Because
finally,
the main thing was Geto was telling Jogo just how strong Gojo was,
Yeah,
and Jogo was just kind of blowing him off about it.
like
And
he
that's
ain't
why,
that
like,
strong.
Geto and Hanami are there watching the fight, and they're just like, should we save him?
yeah, they're
They
all just kind
almost
of
didn't, and then it was like, yeah, I thought he was dead. Dead. I'm like, yeah, y'all killed him off quick.
yeah. Um, and then the episode kind of does end with an introduction to another character whose name I can't remember, but he's important. I believe it's Pseudo, who's like the kind of violet-haired character that Geto was talking about, talking to. He's got like all the stitches on his face.
Mahito,
Mahito, yeah.
Mahito.
Is it
Yep.
Mahito? Yeah,
Mahito,
okay.
yeah.
Puzzle
So they're
piece
He's
man.
basically evil human.
yeah.
Or a
So
demon human, I should say.
yeah, so they're kind of like having a conversation with him about Gojo and how they need to get rid of him, or they need to at least take him out of action long enough to do whatever it is they're planning to do.
Just to mobilize him long enough, because they ain't gonna beat him. They just need to
No.
mobilize him long enough to, yeah, pretty
So
much.
that pretty much brings
True
us,
person.
yeah, and so that kind of brings us to a pretty good stopping point for now. Next week we can get into the exchange event.
Yes.
The Goodwill event, yeah.
First,
Yeah,
we gotta
the
get
Goodwill
through.
event.
Yeah.
Once we get past this other part with Mahito just got introduced, because we get introduced to another character as well, and see some character development from Yuji as well. So
Yeah, actually, yeah, we see a lot, especially when the Kyoto third year and the second year gets introduced in what would be the next episode.
yep.
Because we learn a bit about them, but we also learn a little bit more about Nobara and Fushiguro. And
Yeah.
so we'll get to
True.
all that. We'll get to Yuji continuing to train and get stronger and searching for more fingers to eat, because why not? And I think that's going to cover it for us tonight, at least.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about it so far, Tim? You gonna be enjoying it more when we get to this next few parts and the exchange event. That's when stuff really is gonna be can't wait to see some of the characters in this show.
Because I don't, yeah, I mean, honestly, because I don't typically gravitate towards like shonen animes, I was wondering if I was going to like it. But so far, I really, really enjoy it. I think it's,
Good.
I think it's pretty good. Yeah, definitely.
Good. I'm glad, my friend. Well, y'all, glad we got a good start. I'm gonna definitely be reading it so I can make sure I can, I remember watching this, and like I said, I didn't remember a lot of stuff I do, but I didn't. So I'll be reading the manga over, and like I said, Everett mentioned some stuff that I didn't get to really see, because manga and anime have some different adaptations and show stuff that they ain't gonna show between each other. So I'll definitely be reading it and we'll be doing it. I said we're gonna record probably Thursday. You want to do Thursday? We said we could do it next Thursday.
I'll check my schedule, but I should be good for that.
What about you, Ed? Because I got the baby on Friday, and that's going to be impossible as always.
I'm not sure. I'll let you know what my week is looking like.
All right. Like I said, if you got another day besides Friday, let me know, and we will go from there. I'm glad everybody whoever tuned in. I will try. Like I said, I'm gonna get my intro in here and make it look like legit. I'm gonna have pictures up so people can know what we're reading. So that people don't know what we're talking about unless you really watch anime. So I'll actually put pictures up in here and put the actual manga pictures up of certain plot points, stuff that's important, little stuff that's funny, and all that good stuff. But hey, I appreciate everybody who watched, tuned in, commented. Like, share, subscribe, comment to the Justin Anime group page on Facebook and the Justin Anime podcast page on YouTube. Subscribe, and hope you guys tune in next time. And peace and chicken grease, and peace out, y'all.